Welcome to the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. This is part 2 of Colleen's Alberta Adventures. And before we start, I wanted to talk about our little bags that Colleen picked up. And it's called...
A packing cube.
A packing cube. And this is what Colleen was talking about on our part 1 of this. And you put all your stuff in this and then you shove that into the suitcase. Right. And you said they were absolutely amazing.
They were great. So everything's separated. It's all neat. And it does do that compressing, you know, when people have to sit on their suitcases so they can close them. By the way, I might have had to do something similar to that.
It has a little handle.
Yeah, that works. And they're fantastic. I would recommend that for anybody who's going on a trip.
Yep. So there you go. Some good advice.
Exactly.
And now you're going to talk about your first...
adventure outside Calgary. So I went with my brother Michael. And we went to Canmore, which is west of Calgary, and it's in the Rocky Mountains, and it was beautiful. It was a little cloudy at the start of the day, and then the sun would shine through, and the peaks were beautiful.
And we have pictures of that we can put up right now.
Okay, perfect.
Of Canmore. And just so you know, we had lunch in Canmore a few years ago, I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. And it was beautiful sitting out there looking at these mountains. So have a look at the photos and see what you think. I hope you enjoyed those photos. They're fantastic. It shows some great pictures of the mountains there. And it looked like it was a great day.
We had a good day. So I'm going to talk to you about what we did. Life is not always about a yarn store, and yet somehow we end up in a yarn store. So my brother was great. We had lots of time to share and check in with each other, and it was really nice. I don't get to see him very often, so I really enjoyed it. So I did say to May, what can I bring you back? Because I didn't think she wanted a ball of yarn. And she said, bring me a t-shirt.
I always say, bring me a t-shirt. So I have t-shirts from everywhere.
Exactly.
So you got matching t-shirts?
I did. We got matching t-shirts from Canmore.
And they have the 3 mountains.
Yep. It's called the 3 Sisters, which are the 3 peaks that are there. There's also another peak that is called the Lykke peak. And it's just beautiful around there because Canmore's just, below the mountains. It's just really, really beautiful. So I got these t-shirts at the Black Rock Fudge and Gift Store. There were people buying lots of fudge. I did not, but there were lots of people buying fudge. I knew I needed to get in and get some t-shirts, so I'm really happy. They're very comfy.
No calories in this.
No calories in the t-shirt. Exactly. So that was the first thing that I did. And then we were wandering through little shops, and I thought, I really love to have soap to make my yarn smell nice. Once again, you can put it in a baggie and just have one hole and it'll be good. So I went to the Canada Soapworks, and it took me a long time to figure out what I wanted. Because the scents are really nice, but you don't, you have to want your wool to smell like it. So I bought 2. And the first one I bought for the reason is that because it's for Alberta, and I'll let you hold this up. It's called Field and Forest. Do you want to have a smell of that?
Very nice. It smells like a forest.
It does. And
I wish you could smell it.
There you go. I really, really liked that one. And because it was for Alberta, I thought that would be a good thing to bring with me. So, good memories in that one.
Very nice.
And then the second one is called Mountain Heather. And it says light, refreshing, and moisturizing.
I think this one smells like lavender. A little lavender.
A little bit like lavender. But I think it's actually heather that's in there.
Oh, heather.
Yeah, exactly.
Do they have heather in Alberta?
I think they do.
Well.
So it was a beautiful store. I could have bought a whole lot, but I had to save room for yarn. So that is the 2 things.
Wish you could smell this too.
Yeah,
very nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. So
there seems to be a pattern when we go places that we pick up soap too.
I know.
It's not something we intend to do, but we just end up picking up a bar of soap.
Exactly. Well, I think the first time that when we went to Cambridge and we went to that market and picked up the lavender soap and then just put it in my knitting bag, I didn't even think anything about it. And then when I was working on the yarn, I thought, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. So I like that idea. I think I'm going to continue to do that.
Very nice idea.
Good. So that was that store. Then I moved on to another store, and this was the Alberta's own marketplace, and they sell all kinds of things.
And this is still in Canmore?
Still in Canmore.
Nice.
And I found they had aromatherapy necklaces and bracelets. And I have made us both aromatherapy bracelets. So I thought I really like the look of the necklaces. Now I've taken it out of the wrapper, so I apologize, it might make noise. So what this is,
I can hold that up.
thank you. It's a hexagon that's made of wood, and then inside is a lava bead. And what lava allows you to do is put drops of essential oils on it, and then it holds that scent. And so then while you're wearing it during the day, then you get that aroma from
Of course,
the
it's not good for free scent areas.
No,
I'm sure,
it's
but
not.
it's not an overpowering. Like
No,
when we wear
absolutely.
the bracelets, it's not an
Yeah.
overpowering scent.
Exactly.
So this would be very nice.
Yeah, I really like it. And you know what? I like it even if it doesn't have a scent to it.
Right.
I really was pleased with it. The lady was great. She checked the chain because I didn't want it to be, it's about an 18-inch chain, so I was really happy with that. So I'm going to enjoy to wear that. I'm the kind of sentimental soul who likes to say, oh, I put that on. I remember where I was when I bought it. So
Very
I like
nice.
to do that.
Yeah.
So that was that. Now, as I mentioned, we tend to end up at a yarn store. And my brother was great, and he took some pictures. So yeah, impatient. So we didn't really take pictures into the yarn store because it really is, there's more quilting and sewing things in this store. So it's called the Sugar Pine Company, Quilting, Sewing, and Knitting. I was looking for something to knit because I had made you a cowl, which we'll see on the next episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. So I had finished it and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm here. I still have days left in Calgary. I need something else to knit. So I was looking for something specifically. I thought if I bought some sock yarn, then that would help me. So I also needed sock needles because I only took one set of needles with me. And I wanted to have wood needles. So I'm going to show you the sock yarn first. I'm going to ask you to hold that for me because as you can see, I did some knitting. So I bought Heritage Prints. I think this is called the Seattle colorway. So I'll put the ball down. You can see I have one sock done. So once I get going on a sock, I love to do that. I was fortunate in that the pattern's in my head. This is Katie Lou's sock pattern by Dragon Pine Designs. And I almost knew it by heart. I had to do a little figuring, but I worked my way through. I'd not done it on Magic Loop before. The knitting needle is a Knit Picks Rainbow Fixed Circular 2.25. And so it allowed me just to keep working on it. The place had all kinds of that type of yarn, lots of Cascade yarn, but this is what I wanted. And I knew I could knit up to about here before I had to figure out who it belonged to. I now have it figured out who it belongs to, but I'm not going to say that because it's a gift. So we'll let that just be a surprise for somebody.
Well, you did a great job on this. I love the colors that you picked.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Now, because it was a quilting and sewing shop, there was lots of fabric. And I could have bought a lot. And once again, one carry-on, trying to figure out what to do. So I decided to get some fat quarters because I couldn't decide between two fabrics. And so I'm going to take the label off of this one. So a fat quarter measures 18 by 21 inches. This is 100% cotton. You can tell,
right,
that I am going to be making project bags. So there's some lovely roly-poly sheep. I like the color of it. I really am happy with that one. So that's that one. And then this one has knitting needles and yarn and hearts made of yarn, and it's pretty. So I'm going to do something with that. My sister-in-law, who was wonderful and took good care of me when I was there, has just started doing some knitting, so I'm going to make her a needle cozy because she's working with a circular needle right now. And I asked her which one she liked. She said she liked this one best, so I'm going to make that for her. And I think she will enjoy that.
Very nice.
So I'm just going to hold up the brochure. There is the brochure for the Sugar Pine Company, Quilt Shop and Yarn. And so I had a blast in Canmore. We had lunch at, it's called Rocky Mountain Flatbread. Once again, pizza. It seems like I go to for pizza, but it was really nice, thin crust. It was beautiful, and I had a great time with my brother there. But what we both ordered was lemonade, and lemonade that was sweetened with maple syrup. And it was really, really good.
Now, was that something we could try at home? Or
Well,
is it
it
special?
was made special at the restaurant. I think we can squeeze lemons and we can put
We should
water
try
in.
that, and we'll let you know how that turned out.
Exactly. I would really like to do that because it was a very nice flavor and it wasn't too sweet. All right, but it sweetened the lemon juice, which you need.
Great.
So that is my adventure in Canmore. And we still have 3 more yarn stores to go. So next we're going to be talking about Okotoks. I hope you enjoyed the photos of Okotoks. I went with my sister-in-law, Karen. We had a great day there. We were going to a yarn shop. She was my enabler for that day. She took some photos. She was helpful. And it was great. So Okotoks is 18 kilometers south of Calgary. It was a nice drive, a good day, and we went to the yarn store called Unwind Wool. So as I usually do, I introduced myself and I was speaking to the owner, and she said that her name was Maureen. And then I said, "Oh, hi." And she said, "And what's your name?" And I said, "Colleen." And what we discovered was
your mom is Maureen, and her daughter was Colleen, and you're Colleen, and your mom's Maureen. And I hope that, speaking of Maureen and moms, I hope that you enjoyed, those of you out there enjoyed our Mother's Day special. We had so much fun that day, and we laughed, and we hope you enjoyed that video. If you haven't seen it, go on to our Mother's Day special. It was quite something to have our Mother's Day. It was quite good.
Yeah, we did. We had a good time. So Maureen from Unwind Wool was lovely. There was herself and another lady that were in there. They have a nice little table set up in the yarn store so that you can just sit and chat. My sister-in-law sat down and chatted while I had a look around, and it was nice. There was lots of lovely yarn. So Cascade, Ancient Arts, Poppy, Mirasol, Sea Turtle Fiber Arts, Yarn Ink, Sweet Georgia. There's a long list, and there's even more than that. It's a cute little shop. And I said, I'm like a kid in a candy store. And Maureen said, well, it actually used to be a candy store.
Isn't that funny?
It is, because she's got it beautifully set up, and she's really, really helpful. And I really appreciated her taking the time with me, which was nice. So once again, what kind of souvenir am I going to get? So the first thing that I saw when I went in was this yarn, and it's called Biscotte Yarns.
I can hold that up for you.
And that's a company in Montreal. It's self-striping, and the name is, can you read what the name is on the back?
I can't. It's Titanic. Oh, the Titanic.
So we have a little joke between us.
Yes, we do. We always figured we met on the Titanic. And but I was, of course, upper class, and Colleen, of course, was in lower class. And we kind of joke about that. So the fact that you brought home Titanic yarn is absolutely, funny.
That's right. So that was meant for you and me. So what we're going to do is probably try to divide it up. If I do heels, cuffs, and toes in a brown color, I think we'll be able to make a couple of pairs of socks out of that. It is. It feels beautiful. This is a sock yarn, and oh my gosh, it's really, really squishy.
I think you've bought some yarn like this before. Like, it looks similar to something that you've already bought. But they all start looking similar to me after a while.
I haven't actually. That's the first Biscotte yarns that I've ever bought.
Oh, it feels very soft.
It is.
And
it's
Titanic
beautiful.
Yarn. Very nice. So there you go.
So there's the first one.
Yeah.
The second yarn I bought was Ancient Arts, and I mentioned that before. Now this is a different base. This is called Socknado, so it's superwash merino, 80% and 20% nylon. The colorway is the Eiffel Tower, and I actually had that in my hand when I was at Stash in Calgary, and I kept putting it back, and then when I was in Unwind Wool, I thought, oh my gosh, I have to have that yarn. So I think it's probably going to be a one skein shawl. So if any of you out there would like to comment below and let me know about a one skein shawl pattern, that would be great.
And I think I have just a great idea just now came to me.
Mm-hmm.
When you knit this, you should wear it and we'll be in the Eiffel Tower.
Now that is an adventure and I can hardly wait.
That would
So
be
that's
awesome.
good. So when I was looking at needles, and I had tried the Lykke needles, this is that driftwood colorway, at Unwind Wool, they had some like this that you could buy. And this is a fixed circular 2.25. So I wasn't sure about the knit picks that I purchased in Canmore. I thought I'm going to pick this up just in case. I love these needles. I think they're slippery enough, but not too slick, if that makes any sense. And I've talked about those needles before, so I really, really like them. I was lucky to get them that way. So that was the yarn store in Okotoks. And then we had some more fun because both Karen and I looked at each other and Karen said, you know, there is an ice cream store in Okotoks. And I thought, well, we need to find it.
Bypass an ice cream store.
Exactly. So both the yarn store and the ice cream store were on McRae Street. The ice cream store was called Big Dipper Ice Cream. It was a lovely sunny day. I had pralines and cream. I'm a caramel kind of person, so I really liked it. I can't remember what Karen had, but I have never seen such a smile on anybody's face as I saw on Karen's face. So I'm going to ask May to put in a photo right here so that you can see Karen's face and how much she was enjoying her ice cream. We did have a lovely day, and I'm very thankful that she took the time to take me out to Okotoks. So love the yarn store, would recommend it highly. That's Unwind Wool. And there's lovely little shops in Okotoks. We went into a few of them. I didn't buy anything else, but I really enjoyed having a nice little look around. So that's Okotoks.
Good.
And next we're going to talk about Airdrie and Passu Farms.
I hope you enjoyed those photos from Passu Farms and Airdrie, and it looked like you had another great day, Colleen.
Absolutely. So we started the day at Passu Farms. My brother had mentioned that there was a farm. It's 45 minutes northwest of Calgary, and they have sheep. And I thought, oh my goodness, I get to see sheep and wool and all that good stuff. So I was really excited about it. We were a little early in the season for the sheep to be out. They weren't out, but that's okay. It's set. It's beautiful landscape. You can see the mountains in the distance. Hopefully the picture with the little red barn came out nicely.
Yes.
So it was a really lovely thing. We sat, we had lunch there, which was a beautiful little restaurant overlooking the lovely landscape. So it was beautiful. I ordered soup and bread, which doesn't sound like much, but the soup was delicious. It was a chicken and rice. And the bread, it's their specialty, and it came and it was this big, and I ate most of it. Then, of course, there was the question of dessert. Would I like some? And I definitely did. So there's a berry that's out there that's called Saskatoon berry, and it was Saskatoon berry pie. And I thought, how can you not? So when I asked my brother, what does it taste like? He said, somewhere between a blueberry and an apple. And I went, okay, I can do that. That sounds good. And he was exactly right. That's what it tasted like. The nice thing for me is if I have blueberry pie and they heat it up, it tastes like tea, and I'm not so fond of it. But when you heat up Saskatoon berries, they don't taste like tea. And of course, if it's heated up, you need to have ice cream with it. And it was so good. So I had most of it. I did share a little with Karen, my sister-in-law, which was lovely. So we had a good time there. And then we went into the gift shop, and it's called the Sheepskin Boutique. All three of us found something. So Michael found a shirt. Karen found some sheepskin mitts, which were lovely. If I'd been thinking more about winter, I might have picked up some myself. I found a lovely necklace, which I'm going to hope we can hold up without making too much noise. So it's got a little bit of silver color, and it's a rose gold, and it's a gold color, so I know it will go with all my jewelry. I really, really liked it. They had so many things to choose from. It was really, really difficult to do that. But it's a beautiful little boutique. So if you are out that way and you're looking for a lovely place to go, I would suggest Pasu Farms. It was originated by Patrick and Sue, hence Pasu, and they're actually originally from South Africa, and they came to Canada in 1977 and decided to buy some land. That's where they bought it. Then they have the farm, and they have sheep, and that's what they do.
Another good story from somebody that we've met.
Absolutely. It was lovely. So we went to Pasu Farms, and then we headed to Airdrie. In Airdrie, my sister-in-law found another yarn store to go to. Oh my goodness, they were very helpful with me. I think we call it enabling. I think it's enabling, but we had a great time. So we went to Airdrie, and we went to a yarn store that was called Willow and Wool. I had seen their website, and it had a sign on the website saying, grand opening, May 12th. And I thought, oh my goodness, it's not open yet. I thought, I can't go. What am I going to do? And then when I did some more searching, I found out that it had been open for a couple of months, and I was really thrilled because of 2 yarns that I had thought about buying, and I hadn't done it yet. So let's talk first of all about the store. It is beautiful. Has yarn, has pottery, has accessories. It's beautiful, nice and bright. The yarn is really well displayed. I had a great time there.
I'm glad you only went with the carry-on.
I am glad with the carry. We're going to talk about that at the end of this part 2. Because,
I can see us going back and getting some of that pottery that you've been talking about.
Oh, I know. Like, honestly, the pottery was beautiful. So there's pictures of pottery. So
right.
You will have seen some of that pottery. So I was looking at the yarns that they had, and they had a lot of different ones. Sweet Georgia, Ancient Yarns, Malabrigo, Vivid Yarn Studios, Allison Barnes, Sirdar, Opal. Oh my goodness, so many. The 2 that I was really looking for was Polka Dot Creek and Creek Gardens Crafts. So that is a daughter and a mum, and they dye on different bases because the mum, as my understanding, is allergic to wool. So she has to work with Pima cotton. So let's first of all talk about the wool. That's Polka Dot Creek. I found 2 colors to make a 2-color shawl. I think I was thinking summer because it was nice and light and bright. It's funny, the blue one is called Frost, and this one is called Willow, and it is actually a yarn that's dyed especially for the store that I was in. Wow. And it's got little flecks of black, and it's got some of the frost colorway. It's going to be beautiful. I really, really like it. It is merino and nylon, 75% merino, 25% nylon. And I love that base. Like, it's squishy, and I think it's going to be great. So I was really, really excited about that. So that dyer is Shelley DuPont. That's the daughter of the 2 I was talking about. And she actually is from Airdrie. So I mentioned that I was trying to be as local as I could, and that was pretty local. Then I looked at Creek Garden Crafts, and I got 2 of these. This is 100% Pima cotton. The mom's name is Penny Heptonstall, and she dyes this beautifully. This is fingering weight Pima cotton. I've not seen that type of thing before. I like how those 2 things go together.
It feels very fine.
It's very fine. It's like soft weight yarn, but it's cotton. So this is teal, and this is called Jewel. And I know that the Cozy Up with the Stitchin' Sisters podcast is having a knit-along. It's a cotton knit-along, and this will go perfectly for that. So I'm not sure I can get my fingers to move fast enough, but I would really like to do something to enter. I think cotton's nice for the summer.
Very nice.
I'm looking forward to putting those 2 things together.
Interesting to see how that will turn out.
So I was not expecting this at all. I know that we talked about going to yarn stores and setting it up, but I hadn't expected it, and it was such a nice surprise. So store owner was lovely. The store itself was beautifully laid out, and I'm really happy that I was able to get that yarn. Very nice. That's the yarn store from Airdrie, Willow and Wool. Next, we're going to talk about River City Yarns. you enjoyed the photos from River City Yarns. River City Yarns was on my bucket list. So when I said to my brother I was going to go to Calgary and visit him, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, there's one thing I really want to do. It's on my bucket list. I want to go to River City Yarns. I'd watched Barb and Cynthia, the co-owners of River City Yarns, on their podcast. They have a podcast, and I love it. I'd also purchased something once a month. On the 20th of the month, they have something called a flash mob, and so they have certain things that you can pick. And I'd ordered from River City Yarns, and they were great. And I thought, oh, I just want to go see the store and see what everybody's talking about.
And that's great that you're able to do that. Fantastic that you're able to do something on your bucket list.
Exactly. And that's what my brother said. I said, I really appreciate it. It's a 3-hour drive from where you are. And he said, how often do you get a chance to help somebody do something on their bucket list?
Oh, that was really nice of him to drive 3 hours from Calgary to Edmonton. Is it in Edmonton then?
It's in Edmonton, yep.
So 3 hours from Calgary to Edmonton. Did you spend overnight? You didn't. You came home.
We came home the same
So it's a 6-hour drive that day.
That day.
Well, good for him for doing that.
I know. He's a sweetheart. And nice. Karen came with us and we had a great time.
That's nice. Was it worth the drive?
It was worth the drive.
Nice.
So when we arrived, I took some pictures outside, which you will have seen. And then I went in and didn't see anybody I recognized from the podcast and just had a lovely chat and explained that we have a podcast, we do adventures, that I was here from London, Ontario, and I was was wondering if it was okay with that, if I could take some pictures. They said absolutely no problem. So away we went. Michael started taking pictures. I started looking at yarn, which is not a surprise. And then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, came Barb. So Barb is one of the co-owners.
And you were like celebrity struck.
I was like starstruck. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was trying not to be having a fangirly moment, and yet I was. I thought, oh, Colleen, really? And yet I still felt it. So first of all, I need to thank Barb because she was not feeling well that day. And she took the time to come out and she took the time to kind of show me around the store.
Oh, that was very
nice. And she
nice
is just
her.
A sweetheart. And I am going to get the picture of the two of us, made to a 5x7, I think. And I was so happy to have been there and to meet her. So everybody else at the store was lovely as well, and you took good care of me. When Barb was showing me around the store, there were some certain things that she wanted me to know about, which was yarn specific to their store, which was great. I managed to find a lot. And the other thing that happened was, before I could say anything, she was donating some prizes for our podcast.
Oh, that's so nice.
So once I get done talking about my souvenirs, we're going to talk about what Barb has donated for us. And
so
then we'll talk
can
about
give back to you.
Exactly. So I am thrilled to be able to do that. And I can check this off my bucket list. And so I'm very happy about the whole thing.
Nice.
So I spared no expense when I went to River City. I thought, bucket list, I'm not sure I'll ever be back again. So I want to make sure that I do that. So I wanted to find things that were specific to River City Yarns. So I'm going to talk about the first two because that's the only place that you can get them. So the first one is a yarn that's called Adam and Eve. It's a merino cashmere nylon. And I had really thought, okay, Colleen, you love purple. Don't go purple. Just try and think something else. But I loved this. This is called Hyacinth. It is gorgeous. And it feels so soft with the merino in it.
It does. Now what are you going to make with this?
It probably is going to be a shawl. I really like being able to wear a plain color shirt, throwing a shawl on, and it dresses it up.
Another shawl for the Eiffel Tower.
Exactly. So I'm really pleased with that. It, as I said, with the cashmere in it, feels so good.
Very nice.
So that's the first one. The second one is another one of those biscuit yarns. Okay. And this one is called Northern Lights, and it was dyed specifically for River City Yarns. I had thought about ordering this. And then I thought, I don't know. And then I thought, I may be able to get there. So I'm just going to go buy it at River City Yarns.
Now this is similar to the Titanic.
Exactly. It's the same company. It's the same kind of yarn. It has the same feel to it. It's really squishy and lovely. So I may make one pair of socks. I may make 2 pair of socks. We'll see what we can do out of that. So that was that. The nice thing about River City Yarns, lots of samples. So easy to try and figure something out. And I had seen a sample of a shawl, And it was made out of some cotton linen, and I couldn't find the color that I wanted. It wasn't that anybody had done it wrong. It's just the yarn itself didn't come in the colors I wanted. So this is the shawl. It's called Trista. That's a Barocco pattern book, which was free when I bought the wool. It's worsted Pima cotton, and you don't find that very often. So I thought, well, if it's worsted, I don't need to wear it in the summer. So I found this yarn, and it is called Harvest Worsted. It's called Naturally Hand-Dyed Extra Fine Superwash Merino, and it's by Earth Yarns, and that's spelled U-R-T-H. This is amazing, and the cool thing about this is they plant a tree for every skein that you buy.
Wow, that's
so
not great.
Right there in front of us, 2 trees. Okay, we planted trees.
Fantastic.
And the other thing is that this colorway is called Indigo, and it is so pretty, and it's tonal, and the blues go not all the same. They go in and out of dark, and I love it. So I'm looking forward to making that one. I think it will be nice either for a summer, cool summer evening, or it would be great even in the winter as well, because we do get lots of winter here.
Yes, we do.
So I have never bought Shibui, and they had this pattern. So I'm going to ask to show that. And that is a Church Mouse Yarns and Tees pattern. And it is a cowl. And it is beautiful and soft. Do they call it? They call it a mohair bias loop. I want to make sure I get it right. So that's it. So it's really soft.
And wearing it longer in the back.
Yes, and you knit 2 different together. So one is Sima, and that's this one. And it is alpaca and fine merino.
Very soft.
And the other thing you put with it is Shibui silk cloud.
Wow, it's like so light.
It's so light. So you
light.
strand those 2 together. So it's going to be light, but it's going to be warm. And when you look at Espace Tricot, that's a yarn store in Montreal, they have, one of the owners loves to work with that silk cloud. And I thought, oh, wow, I want to do that. The color is called Velvet. It is so pretty. I am looking forward to trying that out.
You did a great job with all what you picked, the colors and all that.
I'm really happy with it. Now there's one other thing. I had thought I wanted to get some of the Addi Flexi Flips, and yet when I was talking to Barb, she showed me these, which are called flip sticks, Addi flip sticks. So one end is like a ballpoint. It's rounded, and the other one is more of a point. So depending on whether your yarn is splitty or not, depends on what you need. So I bought them to make socks with. I think that biscuit yarn, if I make socks with that, that would be great. So that was my shopping. But I want to go through and show you the other things that I have from River City Yarns.
You bought other things?
I didn't buy other things. So I was, first of all, gifted, thank you to Barb, I was gifted this lovely River City tote, River City Yarns tote. It's reversible, that's the inside. And it's a good thing she did because I had a place to put all the yarn that I bought. So that was thrilling for me. That was very kind. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, River City Yarns. Now, I want to take time to show you the 2 prizes that we have. River City Yarns was on my bucket list. And so I want to do a YouTube giveaway about what's on your bucket list. So when you comment below, the question is, what yarn store is on your bucket list? And comment below, and then you'll be entered in to win. There are 2 prizes.
That's a great idea. Then people can let us know where they want to be and where they want to go. That's fantastic.
Exactly. And that may be adventures for us in the future. So that's
a great idea.
So
and you could win this prize.
Yeah. So there's 2 prizes. The first one is like the bag that Barb gave to me. So this is nice and red. It's got beautiful flowers on the inside. So that's one prize for the YouTube giveaway. And the second one is, oh my goodness.
Oh, this is nice.
Yes. So this is called Hat Trick Yarn. So this is something that River City Yarns has, just they have it. This is actually the Toronto colorway for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, I know they're out. Stanley Cup Finals, they're not in it. So I understand they're all out. But if you start knitting now, you could have socks for next year.
Wow.
So this is actually 150 grams. It feels brilliant. So it's 80% merino and 20% nylon. It is beautiful yarn. I can understand why people want to buy that. So prize number 1 is the bag. Prize number 2 is this yarn. So please comment below. Tell us what you think about what yarn store is on your bucket list, and then you can be entered in the prize.
We hope you win.
Now, I thought I was done. And then when we were talking with Barb, she said, you know, there is a yarn store in Stony Plain, and it's a really nice store. You might want to go there.
Well, we hope you enjoyed those photos of Jo's yarn garden. And so, Colleen, tell us all about that store.
Okay, so it's in Stony Plain. It used to be called Pam's Woolly Shop. It is a beautiful store. Joanne is the owner, and she's had it for about 3.5 years. She has it set up really nicely. There are some spinning wheels. She's got fiber. She's got yarn. She's got beautiful layout of knitting needles. It was a really, really nice store to look around. Now, sometimes when you're looking around, the trick is to try not to just grab the first thing. But I have to tell you, the first souvenir that I'm going to talk about, I had in my hand almost from the beginning. So this is a silky merino light, 70% merino, 30% silk, and it's by Color Adventures by Anna Diomena. I don't think I'm saying that right, but Color Adventures. And this one is called Midnight Blues.
Wow, it's beautiful blues. Beautiful.
You know, it's a tealy, in some light it looks black, but it is beautiful. Now I want to talk to you about the dyers for this. So Elena was the original dyer for this yarn, Color Adventures. And due to health issues, she took her recipes and gave them to another couple so the other couple could do that. Elena passed away early, and what's really nice is about the people who are now dyeing Color Adventures yarn, they give $1 for every skein to Elena's husband and daughter, because Elena passed away young. Wow. And so they're trying to give back. And so it is a sweet, lovely story about the kindness of yarn people and how they like to take care of each other.
That's a very nice story. Sad, but nice.
Sad, yeah. But this is so soft, and it was nice that Joanne told me that story. I didn't know it when I bought it. I loved the yarn, and I was just thrilled. Now, about Joanne, she was a music teacher. She was a piano teacher. And I had made that bag for my sister-in-law, which you will have seen in our podcast. And my sister-in-law had it with her, and she said, "Oh, I really like that bag." And so we had a whole conversation about being a piano teacher and coming to do then working in yarn. Right. So it was lovely. Nice. Now, the other thing that I wanted to get was some opal yarn. And this is beautiful. It's called Colors in Love. And I really love how it turns out. Can you hold that up? I think if you can get it a little closer.
Fleck in there, little flecks.
Little flecks. I love the colors in it. There's a whole range when you look at opal. But opal yarn is beautiful. I knit a few pairs of socks with some opal yarn, and I was really happy with that. I must admit, I could have spent a lot more money in Jo's yarn garden, and I was trying to think, oh my goodness, how am I going to get all my yarn home? I knew that I was getting close. I knew that I had some of those packing cubes. And I thought, I don't think that's good enough. So I talked to Meredith, who's my niece, and I said, oh my goodness. I said, I think I'm going to have to go to the store and get one of those vacuum bags.
They have them at the dollar stores.
Yes. So I thought, I'll go to the dollar store, I'll get some, and it'll compress it. And fortunately, she had one. So she said, here, you take it, Auntie, you take it with you. And so I was able to take this much yarn and compress it down to this much yarn, and then put all my packing cubes on top. I had to do a little bit of pushing to make sure I got it in. Meredith said to me, do you want to weigh it to make sure it's okay? And I said, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know how much it weighs. If I can carry it, it should be fine.
Now, you have been complaining about your shoulders since you got home. I just want to mention that.
You know what? You're right, but I don't lift with that shoulder, so it's okay. I think I was fine.
Yeah.
But now I have the joy of all the memories, spending some great time with Michael and Karen, Alistair and his girlfriend Chelsea, also we spent time with, and then Meredith. So Karen and Meredith and I were doing knitting while I was there. It was a really good holiday. It was nice to touch base with them.
That's right. You were able to teach your sister-in-law some knitting, and you've gotten them all excited. And
exactly.
That's so nice that you're able to do that.
Yeah, I'm a teacher at heart, and so it was nice to be able to share. So when we were driving to Edmonton, Karen and I sat in the back of the car, and we just knit all the way up, got her set up, so it was good. And I texted my brother earlier today and said, how are the knitters doing? And everybody's knitting along just fine.
That's fantastic.
So,
it sounds like you had a wonderful trip, and it was eventful,
did.
and you got to go to all those yarn stores that you talked about. Got a lot of fantastic photos, and
I was thrilled.
You know, fantastic. And I'm looking forward to some adventures with you in the future too that we're going to
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've checked something off my bucket list. I'm so happy about that. I want you to please comment below, subscribe if you'd like, but comment below and enter that
for those gifts.
Gifts. Like what yarn store is on your bucket list, and put that name in there, and that will enter you. Probably will let you enter for a couple of weeks once this goes up, and then we will draw prizes, and then we'll get a hold of you. We'll put them on another podcast.
And before we end, I'd just like to say that we have had some feedback on maybe suggestions of taking some more video, and we're going to be doing that in the future.
Yeah.
It's like, unfortunately, some of this was going to be aired as a special,
right.
But some of our videos are done taped ahead of time because we are off on March break, and they're taped in advance because it's the only time that we have off, because we do have other jobs.
Right.
And but we will be doing more videotaping with it like later on in our videos, so just be watching for that, and I will practice. And Colleen has been supporting and wanting me to do some more of that. So
I'm thinking that maybe we need to take some videos when we're actually there instead of trying to figure it out after. And so I think we're going to try and do a little bit more when we're in places.
So be watching for that in the future. So there we go.
So
until next time.
You take care.